and welcome to this episode of Read Play Game, where we look at tabletop role-playing games from every side of the table. I'm the rules lawyer, and I think I'm going to be playing today.
I'm Emma Skaggs, and I'll be playing today.
I'm Anish Pinamaraju, and I'll be playing today.
I'm Tori Jewell, and I'll be playing today.
I'm Mikey, and I'll also be playing today. You don't need to know my last name.
Damn, okay.
Wait, did I say my last name? Did I dox myself?
No,
I always say my last name.
We've said our last names a lot of times on this, but
yeah, people already know.
If you're tuning into this episode, Mikey says "fuck you."
No, I don't say that. Don't take words out of my mouth. I say I love you.
For people tuning in for the first time, this is the first part of what's usually a 3-part structure of the podcast, but for this one, it's just going to be 2 parts, because this one, usually we do character creation and reading through the rules for the first read session, but this game is about creation, so this is going to be a little read-play combo, like we've done a couple times before. So we're going to be walking through how to play this as we play it, and give an example of what it's like to play. Feel free to listen. Nope. Okay. After we do the read play section, we're going to do a game discussion where we just talk about our thoughts on the game. So feel free to listen to whichever of these interest you and skip whichever ones don't. Today, we're going to be playing Exquisite Biome, a game designed by Caro Asercion. Exquisite Biome is a game all about creating creatures and the environments they live in. It's inspired by speculative biology and creation of fictional beasts, specifically citing a wide range of media, from like zines to art to like visual art to video games. The most well-known pieces of media cited are like No Man's Sky and Spore, 2 very popular games. It's a game that can be used to flesh out an existing world that you might have already created or have in mind, or you can just do a little fun little game or thought experiment, whatever you like. Caro themselves comes from both a gaming and theater background, stating that they believe in making games that build small worlds through collaboration, which is exactly what this game is. And you can find it, as well as a bunch of other games, on Caro's itch.io page, seexcursion.itch.io. The word see, like SEA, and then excursion.
Like an itch you just have to scratch, because that's what it feels like when you hear this game and you just want to play it.
I owe you one.
And that's called yes and, chat.
The Exquisite Biome is, fucking, damn it.
Don't hurt yourself.
Ooh, what's everyone's favorite biome?
What's the 3-leaf plant with the red dot in the middle?
I like deciduous rainforest.
I like mushroom forests.
I was about to say that. Damn it.
Anish, where did you find this game again?
Ooh, really fun story.
Poison ivy.
Anish, where did you find this game again?
So glad you asked. This is going to be the longest recording ever. So I found this game while going on YouTube, as I'm one to do, and just consuming nonstop RPG content. But my new favorite YouTuber is this person named A.A. Voigt, Voight. He's a guy who makes YouTube video essays about really niche indie TTRPGs, which is pretty much our entire shit. He made a video about Exquisite Biome that I found really, really charming. And yeah, shout out to Aaron Voigt. He's awesome. I actually also, this is a tangent, but I also have beef with him and Caro, specifically on April 1st this year, April Fool's Day.
And my birthday.
And your birthday. They co-wrote a video essay that is about 45 minutes long, an extremely long video essay about Hamlet and the relationship between that piece of work and this Worms RPG. The YouTube video goes on for about 3 minutes talking about the importance of Hamlet in literature before hard cutting to discussing the Worms RPG. Worms, the RPG, is a one-word RPG.
So it's just them saying worm over and over again?
It's
Worm.
That's the concept. It's only one word, and for the next 40 minutes, they proceed to make a YouTube video essay dissecting worms.
I had
a
to do
one-word
that.
RPG.
I had to do that in 5th grade.
Dissect a worm?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I
Who
I
up
was
playing with they
extremely
worm?
mad. Not me. I was so mad.
She keeps me worm.
We're
She keeps
absolutely
mealworms.
we're absolutely adding that game to our list, by the way, and going to play it.
Still love me if I was a Hamlet-inspired worm gameplay.
Regardless,
Yeah.
the two of them know each other because Caro co-wrote that video essay, and honestly, makes sense because they have a background in theater. But also, honestly, fuck them because that pissed me off. I
Clickbait.
watched the whole video though. Very, very insightful.
But we love their game creation.
Yeah, I am very excited to play this.
Sweet. Let's dive in. So start. Does everyone have the rules pulled up? All right. So I also do somewhere in this. All right. To start out, I like the opening quote. I love it when they put a little quote in there. This one is I feel like sums up the game pretty well. A platypus is a duck designed by committee, which is essentially what we're doing. Is we're about to design a bunch of creatures by committee. So it opens up with a section talking about the bird's eye view, just kind of giving a overview of the game. To play this game, you're going to need a standard 52 deck of playing card, 52 card deck of playing cards. So that's your usual deck with the jokers removed because there's no jokes here because of society.
Exquisite Biome is a game about the natural world, the creatures that inhabit it, and the ways they live alongside each other. During play, you will generate an ecosystem and use prompts and questions to create and discover the creatures that live there. You can play it alone or in a group by building on each other's ideas together.
And from what I understand, it seems like this game, the time that was put down was like 30 plus minutes. So it could take as few as 30 minutes. Not with this podcast, probably.
I need us all, really quick, just everyone write down an estimation for how long we're going to be recording.
Oh, yeah.
Just
whoever-
anywhere.
In bed?
Don't say it
here's the
out
question.
loud. Don't say it out
Here's the
loud. Just
question.
write it down.
The estimate is from now or from when we started?
End time.
Oh.
Oh. So like time of like
Yeah,
Including
like,
game
pick a-
episode or just the replay?
Oh, and we don't share it. We don't put in the
Don't
doc.
share it. Just write it down.
just the
So then
replay.
we can
What if we
revisit
send it with
later.
invisible ink in the group chat and nobody looks at it?
I don't
No.
trust
I'm going to be too
any
tempted.
of y'all. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
I
y'all
don't
mad.
trust
I'm
that.
about to do it.
I don't have anything to physically write it down, so I'm just going to write it in my notes, and you'll have to trust me.
Okay.
So, before we play, we all want to be on the same page about something. It says before you begin, discuss with your fellow players the level of realism you wish to explore, which is just kind of the tone and sort of overall like genre vibe setting of the thing. So, the examples they give: you may create a science fiction or fantasy setting, encountering aliens or monsters that could never exist on Earth. On the other hand, you may wish to keep your game quite grounded and discover animals that could plausibly exist in the real world. Make sure all players are roughly on the same page here. So just kind of, what vibe do we want to go for? Anyone have any feelings about that?
Y'all know the like, I have honestly never seen these. I've just heard of them and I really want to see them. They were documentaries that were on Animal Planet, or mockumentaries that were like dragons, like, and then I think they had one for mermaids. Like, I like that kind of angle with sci-fi or fantasy where it is a lot tied to real concepts and like plausible stuff, but that edge of the mystical.
I read a book recently called All Tomorrows. It's beautiful. It has this incredible like art, and it's about like humans in the future and how we evolve in terms of like we go into outer space and our bones shrink and we get like more so that we are able to navigate zero-G spaces and different things like that. And then aliens come in and they transform humanity into all these weird shapes and sizes. I'll send some of the photos into our group chat, but I think that idea of like the same kind of fantastical element, but very specifically evolved into a narrow niche, I think is really fun.
I will add, I would prefer to do non-humanoid. So
It doesn't have to be humans. It's
Yeah.
just like super specific thingy, like flying squirrel type
Yeah.
stuff.
I think a lot of us too have at least some background in biology. Am I wrong? Anish, didn't you start off as a bio major?
Yes,
And I
and
technically
every
did, too.
every birthday
Yeah.
I would ask for an animal book or an animal encyclopedia, so I could just look at animals. So
Those
safe
zoo
to say I'm
books.
excited.
Zoo Books commercial
Those
circa
yes,
I always
the
the
loved
magazines.
tiger poster.
one of my favorite books when I was a kid was I always loved getting those books. I mean, I loved the D&D monster manuals when I was younger. I would always just flip through and look at all of the different art of the creatures and monsters and just read all of them. I thought it was fascinating, the different kinds of dragons. There was also this specific book. It was one of those books that's super wide and kind of narrow, not super tall, and it would have all of these different creatures, like the chupacabra and all that stuff of like American fictional creatures from around the world. And I always loved those books in the library.
One thing that or a couple things that Caro cites as as touchstones in the end part of the game is fictional bestiaries. Is that how you say it? Bestiaries?
Yeah.
Like the Monster Manual or like books like that. So I imagine they had a similar experience. They also cite various television programs broadcast by the Animal Planet circa the early to mid 2000s. So honestly,
Wow.
the
Nailed
zoo
that
books
vibe.
comparison is, I feel, apt. Is that what they're called? Zoo books?
I don't
Zoo books.
remember what they're called.
Zoo pals?
Well,
Zoo
Zoo
Pals are the
Pals were the
plates.
plates. Yes.
Oh, they actually cite
Oink,
zoo pals in
oink,
here
Zoo
too, but
Pals.
specifically the forks.
Oh yeah, the Zoo Books magazines. Ranger Rick.
This is gonna
Ranger
be
Rick
so
was good.
fun.
Well, it sounds like we have kind of a mythical realism vibe going on in one corner, and like potentially in the form of a bestiary. I will propose a different version that we could play in. I was talking to Mikey, I think this morning at 2 a.m. about this show I just finished called Scavenger's Reign. Super good show. Incredibly good show with awesome world building. And the highlight of the show, which is all about this outer space group of explorers crash landing on a foreign planet. The highlight of that show, in my opinion, is the intricate ecosystem that they create. And the animators have complete free reign to create all these crazy creatures. There's this one creature that uses like psychic powers to honestly act as like a zombie fungus. Like it spews a bunch of like black ichor into other creatures' mouths and treats them as like a sort of vessel to get food. Crazy shit. And then there's like little tiny guys that like almost look like little helicopters instead of like having wings. Like crazy shit. So like full reign to be as creative as possible in a completely alien environment. So I think that lends itself to creativity.
Yeah, I'm totally down for crazy, wacky body forms and all of that. I just like we do this with I used to do this at space birthday parties with older kids. We would first imagine a planet and then create creatures that live on that planet. And we had like crazy wacky stuff because it's not a Earth-like environment. I feel like a lot of the fun for me will be coming up with the causes of those evolutions. You know, like what makes the little creepy helicopter thing like that, or like when the critter is spewing that ghastly ichor, like what did it eat? Like is it like flamingos and it has to eat like the certain type of bugs and then it mashes up the toxin and it can spit it back out? Like finding those things I think will be really fun.
One of my favorite book series of all time, Stormlight Archive, has really, really fascinating creature designs, like unlike any fantasy I've ever heard, because it's this world where these massive like world-ending storms come every week. And everyone has to lock themselves inside, and so all the plants are very like crustaceans, like shell based. They like like retract into the ground during the storm, and then they come back out. And so it's cool, like those little things, like how the natural like environment also influences their evolution. I think is cool.
The Chimera Ant arc in Hunter x Hunter, where you're getting different creatures' abilities and what they use for survival, whether it be the speed of the rabbit or the tusks of the rhino, whatever they use to ensure their survival, and what gets kept and creates a super species.
Anish, you bringing up Scavenger's Reign is actually perfect because I was looking through Caro's Twitter earlier, and they tweeted literally a couple days ago, like May 31st, to celebrate the Netflix re-release of Scavenger's Reign, I'm putting Exquisite Biome, my speculative biology game, on sale for 50% off through the rest of the weekend. Go make up some weird creatures. So they're a fan too.
That's so fun.
Could also be a good
so
touchdown
fun.
for this. Awesome. So and the next section talks briefly about lines and veils, which is, you know, always a great thing to keep in mind when playing any game.
No humanoids.
So yeah, there's
That's
one.
a good line.
Yeah. Then examples, lines and veils they give, and we've talked about lines and veils on this podcast before. You know, a very common safety mechanic for what people are comfortable with. Potential lines and veils might include, they list here, snakes, spiders, insect infestations, cramped or confined spaces, descriptions of violence or gore, animal mimicry, etc. So if there are any, feel free to bring them up now, and we should write them down somewhere we can all see.
I personally have none because I love nature, and honestly, I kind of love how brutal nature can be. So I have no problem talking about how violent and gory it can be.
I love that. Like I said, no humanoid, but I guess what I'll addendum that to is I think I really want like a non-speaking. Definitely it'll make noises as all creatures do. I love that documentary, Dancing with the Birds, where one of the birds, they mimic noises, and one of them is like children playing, and that I found to be really like beautiful. But because it is a world building game and not a role playing game, I would love for that to be like a self-imposed restriction, as we have a creature that does not communicate verbally.
Yeah.
Of course it uses
Or like,
noises
and this is like a huge statement to make, and it is so debatable, but I like not conscious like animal, like relationships, sure, but like maybe tools is a limit. Like they're not using sapient. Tools, they're not making art, like these are critters. Is that the vibe we want to go for? The
question I'm saying, like with I think critters kind of narrows it down a little bit to like smaller things.
Oh, I don't know.
So are we saying like non-sapient?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Sapient or sentient?
Sapient
means sentient. Yeah.
Like Homo sapiens, because dolphins do use tools.
Well, that's
sapient,
like
sentient, same thing.
And that's the line, because I would be fine with like little tool use, just not like humanoid or building cities, having complex societies.
Kind of like to the intelligence level of an octopus.
Like if you're going to a new planet and we're like, there's no sign of intelligent life, like that type of situation, like intelligent life being like human thinking. Yeah. Well, I know we talked about not humanoid, but I did have an idea for a world that's like, imagine like if there's
Are we on world building yet, or is there a specific mechanic for that, is my worry?
No. Well, so it's a like imagine if it was our world, but there was like a deadly virus that wiped out all the humans.
And now the apes got big.
There were apes that were smart.
You fools, you blew it up.
Sorry, yeah, I was jumping a little ahead of the game. Okay, so lines and veils, lines being stuff not included in it, veils being things that you're okay with talking about but not in vivid detail. If anything comes up, feel free you can add anything at any time.
I'll put in veils just for more specifics as we get into it, like complex communication, because that can mean anything, but it sounded like we all kind of wanted to stay away from it. Complex communication, tool use, like complicated societal relationships, because there are some animals that have really intricate and it still works and is interesting, but we're trying to stay away from like human society.
I will say, like, when we say tool use, I feel like
I think we know what we mean. right?
Are they smelting iron?
Yeah.
Are they...
Versus like birds pick up clams and then drop them on a heavy rock and then they break open and they eat them. Like tool use
Okay.
is complicated.
Okay, awesome. Any other things?
Yeah. And that's why I put them in veils, because like we could dabble in them depending on the level. And yeah.
Cool. Jumping into the next section, the lay of the land. This is beginning the gameplay part of it, and a lot of this stuff, because this is such a like fluid game, a lot of it is described as like optional. But we're gonna use the mechanics as much as possible here, because it's fun. So it says you may already know the nature of the environment you wish to explore. For example, if you were adding this to an existing world, an existing fictional world you'd already created. But if you want to start with an entirely new environment, which we're doing, we will begin by drawing 2 cards from the deck, which I'll place out front. These are your biome cards, which you will use to frame the environment in which your creatures dwell. So we've got the 3 of clubs and the 9 of diamonds. Compare the rank and suit of these 2 cards to the tables on this page and the next. The first card sets up the big picture for your biome, while the second card adds some additional flavor. So the first one being the first biome card is the region at a macroscopic level, which is
What was the number?
3.
3. Scrub or grassland.
Oh my God.
Grassland.
We're gonna make some prairie dogs.
Grassland. Because I actually don't know what a scrub is.
I think that's just
Scrub
another,
is a guy
like,
that can't get no love from me.
I think they're just expanding on grassland, like shrubbery, like
Yeah.
little
like,
plant
have you
life.
ever,
not
did you ever go
forest.
out to the desert when you were in LA?
No. Mama,
What did-
I went
like-
to Dirty Desert in Fortnite. What are you talking about? No, I did not trek to the desert.
But
And
have you ever played like a Zelda game?
I played Breath of the Wild.
There's like I can't remember if it's also in.
I'll send some pictures.
There's the Deku Scrub. I can't remember. I don't think it's in. It might not be in. What's the first game called? Ocarina of Time. It might
Ocarina
not
of
be in that
Time.
one, but it's definitely in Majora's Mask. It's like a little guy that lives in a bush. It's kind of like an Octorok vibe. Anyway,
Cute. Grassland.
And then it was clubs,
Clubs.
right?
It's an Octorok.
clubs. Yeah, what does clubs say?
So the season is cool and dry. So maybe like a winter season. Like we're not.
Ooh, I'm already thinking of so many documentaries
Yeah, this is so
in which
exciting.
I've seen
Yes.
this exact vibe.
And then we've got the second biome card, which is additional context and detail. It is the 9 of diamonds.
High
So that's
altitude.
high altitude midday.
Ooh.
Love it.
High
So
altitude
kind of like a-
grassland. What?
So kind of
Maybe it's like
almost
a-
tundra.
Well, altitude is not the same as what are
Yeah,
you?
no, you're right. I was
Yeah.
I think latitude.
Yeah, you're thinking latitude.
bad. Yeah.
I'm thinking like a what's that?
Plateau.
Like a plateau, but there's a specific, like a more extreme
A
one.
mesa?
Plateau range.
Mesas?
A mesa, like top of a mesa, maybe.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun because then you have stage hazards where like a way that the creatures eliminate others is like kick
Push
them
'em
off.
off.
Correct.
Stage hazards.
So high
Stage hazards
altitude.
arrow.
High
Yeah.
altitude.
I find that
Can,
like
can someone write these down?
I'm writing them down. It's high
Sweet,
altitude
sweet, sweet.
and it's midday.
Yes. The suit being the time of day, the rank of the card being the
The fact
details
it's
of the environment.
cool and dry, this sounds nice. You get a gorgeous view. It's not baking in the sun. It's not moist or humid. It's midday.
You've got to keep, if we're at high altitude and it's dry, there's not going to be easy water sources because water runs down. So every time it rains, it's not going to like hold on to a lot of water. It's going to stay pretty dry up there. So that'll be a limiting factor for our creatures.
need to think of how they get water, yeah, and food.
Cool. Okay, we feel good about our environment that we've established. Any other details you want to iron out?
Me a plastic lawn chair and I would be set.
Okay, cool. Let's discover some creatures. I will draw 3 cards from the deck and place them in a row. These creature cards will be used to describe an animal that resides in your biome. We've got the Ace of Hearts, the 9 of Hearts, and the 7 of Hearts. This is a hardy creature. Each card has one or more prompts that correspond to its suit or rank. Starting with the player who most recently touched an animal, Mowgli was laying on me earlier,
Dang it.
How much
I
earlier?
thought-
literally right before we came up here.
You win.
So, okay. I didn't even want to go first. Damn. Okay.
If it's a non-pet animal, I would smoke you.
What animal is non-pet for you? What did you touch?
Any of them at the museum and frogs outside.
I offered to hold a stranger's dog leash when I was at a cafe at around 1 p.m. and the dog's name was Oshi, and I pet it. So yes, it was a creature. It wasn't my pet, but I did.
I haven't touched an
Humans-
animal in like months.
Okay.
You doing okay?
I haven't felt a warm touch.
Are humans animals?
We're
Yes.
not counting humanoids
Not for
as
this.
our type of animal.
That's one of our veils, Anish.
Yeah,
That's one of our lines.
It's one of our
The
lines. We're
line.
not talking about humans.
I'm not talking about this or this.
We're talking about this.
Okay, so
Long
Oh
story
my
short,
gosh, we're doing 3 mammals in a row. This is so
I
exciting.
know.
Is
I
it 3
think
mammals in a row, or are these 3 cards describing one animal?
this is
Oh,
describing
that's a
one
good
animal.
question.
Oh.
Oh, how fun.
Well, actually, no, it's not.
No,
Sorry.
it's not.
Come on.
No, it is.
Oh,
it is.
they are, but they're different
We're
parts
going
of the
to
animal.
create multiple creatures, but we are currently describing one. Yeah. Let me double check to see. So the first player take turns responding to these prompts. Add a detail or answer the question. For example, for the first creature card, a general description. One player might choose to begin by saying these prompts make me think of this particular species of bird. Let's say see that as our starting point. Okay, so I guess we'll have me do the rank, the ecological niche, and then someone else can do the suit part, right? Would that make sense? Does that seem to be what it's saying?
Cool.
Or is it one person per card? It says take turns responding to these prompts.
I think that-
yeah.
Yeah, I think that we can all respond to all of them. We're just adding details as we go. And if we don't have details, we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, they're just starting points.
Okay, so this is an ace of hearts. An ace will be a pollinator or plant spreader,
Plant spreader. Oh.
like a bee.
And it's a mammal.
It's a
It's
mammal.
a mammal.
Oh,
So
does
some
it-
kind of like there are those little rodents that eat like beans and stuff and poop them out, like the
A field
I can't-
mouse
The field mouse. Yeah.
type of vibe. If it's a seed spreader, if it's a plant spreader, it's got to either like eat seeds or get seeds or pollen stuck to it. So
Yeah.
that's up
Like
to
maybe,
you on
maybe
like,
because
size.
it's teeth. It's like teeth are able to break through like some kind of plant or something. I don't know.
Well, what do you
I'm like,
think
you
for-
seem very excited. I'm curious.
No, I was
Yeah.
holding it in because I was trying to go in turn order.
What is the turn order?
Oh yeah.
It's
Let's
me
just
I'm
go
first.
with that.
curious because like when
Technically-
we did sup, it was pretty clear. This person starts, this person adds on. Is this just like a quorum or?
Yeah, because stuff was based on the die roll, right?
It's supposed to be who touched the animal first goes first, and then we develop a turn order based on that.
Yeah, and
But what is goes first? Like makes an offering?
it just adds a detail. So I mean, it also says you may wish to look at the prompts for all 3 cards at once and pick and choose prompts to respond to in whichever order you please.
That's fair.
So y'all just kind of had some ideas. So that's like that works.
Yeah, I think the point is to just kind of get on a roll, see where we go.
Yeah, just kind of chat about them.
And I think part of the rule book says at some point, as you proceed, you may wish to ask follow-up questions, make suggestions, or jot down additional details. So, in regards to your little rodent idea, Mikey, I like the idea that this mammal, as opposed to like maybe an invertebrate or something else, has a specific thing that allows it to access a certain plant. Maybe some cool teeth.
Yeah, like fangs, like some kind of.
Proboscis.
If y'all are down for it, I like the idea of looking at all of the things that we got from drawing the cards at one
Yes.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that it's a pollinator or a plant spreader mammal. We know that it has captivating eyes of some sort.
Because we got the 9 of
The
hearts
9 of
for our
hearts.
second card, a distinctive feature.
And the 7 of hearts gives us that it is a solitary species and that it has a folk tale that is based on it. It's folkloric. So just if that, and then we can answer the specific questions, but as we're building, I like a little small rodent. If it's a,
So it's a
were we
jackalope.
thinking?
It's also a solitary species because of the suit of the third card being hearts. Oh wait, it
Um,
has questions on the. I see. I see.
yeah. Are we thinking if it's a plant spreader, do we want it to be a pollinator or do we want it to be like an eats seeds animal?
I love when animals shit out shit, like unbeknownst to them, they're helping the environment,
Yeah,
which I guess
because
that's
Yeah, except when they
pollinators
do
too,
it in the
but
kitchen.
with that in mind, they don't have to be small. It could be a large animal if it's eating
True.
seeds.
And then the thing I'm thinking about is I'm tripping up on the most is the idea of captivating eyes, because
It's got me
no,
thinking of
you
like
go.
a cow, cow eyes.
They're
cows
just
have
beautiful.
lashes.
They have
They have
beautiful
Got those
gorgeous
big,
eyes.
eyes.
beautiful
Yeah,
lashes.
so
They hate
that's
me.
captivating to me. So I like something with like. I mean, if we do want to go with a big mammal, I'm picturing something like almost like whale or elephant size, but has these big old eyes.
How did
Yeah,
they get up on this
I am
big old
also
mesa?
I'm gonna throw a size limit out there, not like a hard limit, just a thought process with it being either grassland or scrubs. I don't think that there's going to be biomass of like plant material necessarily to support like humongo, like maybe buffalo sized, which is pretty
Yeah.
big, which is
I was
pretty
gonna
big, but not
say
like
my
huge.
thinking when I went to the Channel Islands slash like Santa, I can't remember. The islands in off the coast of Los Angeles, they had like their biggest predator was this little teeny fox, and then they had buffalo on this island that was like really small. So it could be something big, but I don't know.
The other option for plant spreader, well, we said the eating was fun. I like the idea, like looking at a big animal. There's some plants that have spiky spurs that get caught on fur, and the idea of like you're moving through and you get all these spurs caught on you.
I love that because what sort of plants do we have up on this very high grassland? It must be like very tough types of plants. It must be very hardy. Um, I like the idea of spurs because that fits into that sort of ecological niche.
What I was daydreaming when I heard captivating eyes was maybe it's not even the method of which they're seeing, but like the Atlas moth has those big ass like things that mimic eyes,
Ah,
Ooh.
or there's fish that have things that mimic eyes, like not quite a peacock, but it. I love what you're saying about the cows have these big doughy glossy eyes, but maybe it doesn't even have to be the eyes. It could be a defense feature or a mating feature or something that mimics eyes.
yeah. I I love the idea of like maybe an animal with floppy ears that then if it gets scared, its ears like perk up and it's
Pan's
full
Labyrinth.
size. Yeah.
Ooh. Pan's Labyrinth is a great touchstone. I I kind of love that so much, and that would kind of lend itself like fake eyes would lend itself really well to like any sort of folk tale. Like, don't look
Yes.
at the strange eye cow on a midnight
Yeah.
full moon.
Just if the folklore is coming from humans, if the creatures they're only able to see them from this lower point of view, like is it something that they can see from up there and think, oh, those must be eyes, but it's something different for the creature that's up there? Maybe, like, do we have creatures that live on the mesa?
I imagine if we're treating it like we're like scientists on an expedition, I like the idea of like that it hasn't been super explored yet. So like yeah, the distance and like you've looked up and you can see it and now we're like in a helicopter looking at them from above and taking notes on the animals that we're seeing.
Okay. So wait, let's hone in. Yeah, those questions about the specifically the captivating eyes. What size are they, and how do they manifest? We mentioned
I like the idea of
ears.
them being like ears.
This is my thought. Moths that have fake eyes are trying to be bigger and more intimidating, which means if a mammal that is a large beast in itself has them, that means there's something even bigger out there that is hunting it. So, like, this is like a weird pitch, but like, do you know like sugar gliders? Like how their
Yes.
weird flappy skin is like kind of tucked into their body at all times. Like what if like these weird cow things, like they activate a muscle and they just like they become lateral, like they unfold a tarp
Like
that is their
huge floppy. Yeah.
Like Dumbo?
huge.
Like Dumbo style big eyes.
But like, but between the arms, not the ear.
Like
you
on
said?
their on their back. Like what if their side skin has like spots and stuff, or like big spots, and like if they feel threat from something like a sky predator from above, they
yeah.
Flatten out.
make
Like
their
a
skin taut.
Like a
and-
fin almost, like a fan on. Is it on the top or the sides? I think I'm not thinking about
Like
it.
imagine if you're in a helicopter looking down, right? And we're these scientists, and like there's a herd of these weird buffalo things. And upon hearing the helicopter sounds, this herd of buffalo that look like they have loose skin and fairly normal anatomy, they all kind of spread apart and like their entire backs become flat like a plate, like skin, almost like a butterfly's wings.
So whatever's predating on them, whatever's hunting them's coming from above. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I had a thought talking about what if the way they got the spurs or whatever on them. This was kind of inverse, not like from above, but it was like from below. I was thinking like, what if they clambered up from like below and like clambered up, and in the clambering up to escape from their predator, that's how they get all of the spurs and like the seeds on them and spread it on top of the
spread it
on
from
top of
below
the-
up to the mesa, you mean?
Yeah.
This reminds me of a mountain goat then,
Or
which is a different situation.
it could be kind of the body form more of like a badger. Like how, like, do we want it to have kind of hoof-like things, or do we want it to have more? Are we scurrying? Are we running?
I thought with grasslands, ungulates, if that's what
Yeah.
they're eating, but the idea of climbing up like steep rocky mountains does make sense, because again, this is a question I had before. How do these big ass animals get on this mountain? Are they like trapped there? It's like a very high altitude mesa.
So the question becomes, do they go up there by choice, or were they stranded in some like a river forming event, or
and now they're stuck up
Pangea
there.
type event? Because prepare for a long ass departure, we can cut around this. There's a species called bonobos,
I
which
love
are
bonobos.
genetically identical to chimpanzees, but the reasons that they're separate is because a river had formed and separated these two groups, even though they are genetically identical. However, what differs is their social structure, because
Yeah.
chimpanzees are ruled by the alpha male, and all of their struggles are settled by fighting and who can fight and who's the strongest, versus bonobos are the alpha female, and theirs are settled by not like
Sex.
sexual acts.
Sex.
Yes, and they're one of the only non-human, non-reproductive sex acts. So it's like oral, same sex. They engage in all these different acts for social reasons, not just reproductive, which is very rare outside of human.
That's very interesting, because what we do know about the social order of these is that they are like they're like what was it, solitary?
Oh,
Forgot
they're
they're
solitary.
solitary.
I
They
forgot
can't be
that.
herds.
When
They
two
can't be
meets.
heard.
So like maybe they are some sort of similar species to one that's down below, but these ones don't move in herds, or they
I
are because
think-
they got separated in some
Yeah.
way from their herds and are now solitary creatures.
I think we have to like rethink some stuff since they're solitary. Like large animals moving
that
in
changes it
herds
completely.
usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I
What if
think
it's just one?
I like the idea of the badger.
just one.
I'm serious,
Like
like the
shit.
Lord of the Forest. Like
I think I think that this goes
That would lead
into
itself to folklore very well.
I think that is folkloric, and there could be a folklore about a specific one or something. Maybe they're rare. Like maybe there's not a lot of them, but I don't know if we could just justify just one, because then it would like die and it would be it would be over,
Yeah.
right?
If scientists are like trying to understand it, maybe of whatever creature of buffalo, I'm almost thinking like possum-esque if they're laying down,
I
fighting
think
themselves.
possum could be fun.
Every once in a generation, one of them ascends the mesa, and we're not sure why. It is bringing the seeds from that lower ecosystem onto that mesa ecosystem and
Yeah.
pollinating, etc. that way, possibly.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. No, exactly. That's what I like with the bringing
Like-
this stuff up,
Like there's a
and that
like,
kind of
like-
continues the life cycle.
Like there's like a migratory pattern, but it's only for one of them or like a few of them.
It's a very
Possibly.
solitary migratory.
My thinking, just building off what you were saying, like something I was kind of thinking about earlier, talking about like, oh, it's, it's solitary and folkloric. Like it could be part of a bigger group of animals, but it's like something to the effect of they all have their own individual way of getting away from like a creature, some kind of predator. But this one, instead of running fast, maybe it lagged behind the rest and it was forced to climb.
I think
Just trying to think of a reason why it would go up.
we've got a lot of good ideas about like how the species got started. I think for me it's like I like the going back down and up. Like maybe they're very solitary creatures and then they come back up to mate.
That was my idea. Yes.
Yeah, they come back
Yeah.
That
up
was
to mate, and
exactly
that's when the spurs come.
That's a great idea.
This is my non sequitur idea. It's a mammal, and it's folkloric, and that instantly makes me think of Absol, the Pokemon. If you know it, really cool looking Pokemon. Its whole deal as a Pokemon is
Natural
that
disasters,
it
right?
predicts natural disasters. But because it tries to warn people about natural disasters, people have associated the Pokemon with natural disasters. So, despite its good intentions, it has now kind of gained the reputation as like a negative sort of reputation, which makes me think that captivating eyes can lead into the idea of a third eye, like a third eye that's like predictive of the future, which could be kind of a departure from a natural sort of
I mean,
setting.
there's a lot of things that we would consider unnatural until we've really figured them out. Like animals have all kinds of senses
Yeah,
that we
Yeah,
sharks.
don't.
Well, I was gonna say, what if like I kind of like all that comparison, but what if the folklore behind it is like they didn't realize that it was the one carrying these spurs and stuff up, so like people just started to understand that after this animal was sighted, like
New
the
life.
harvests were good or something, or like more plants would pop up,
Oh.
and so they were like, oh, this is the harbinger of a bountiful harvest. It's like this animal like is a symbol that we're going to have a good season, or that things are good. Does that make sense?
I like that.
Yes, because I feel you were also talking about mating, maybe in terms of if that creature is like an alpha female or alpha male or however the structure like lends itself. That if that is not only they're bringing the spurs and the seeds of the plants, but also there's about to be a lot more like
They're
mating in terms
bringing
of
their seed.
Yeah.
are they right? Like, are they animals, beasts of burdens? Are they okay? Well, also, I guess here's a clarifying question: are there humans on the mesa?
I don't think that we should. I think we should do this almost like the Galapagos, like the like very isolated. Nature is
Isolated.
being allowed to take
In-
place, and now we're seeing it happen.
In that case, can I
and
can I-
watching,
can I
like,
propose something?
yeah, I have an
If-
idea too.
If animals are retreating from low ground to high ground all of a sudden, that to me reads, oh shit, something bad is happening, flooding potentially. So folklore around it being if you spot the beautiful eyes from atop of mesa, be warned because you will soon perish, like almost like I think angels and like how they have multiple eyes and like how they're
Be not
Like-
afraid.
be not afraid. So if some random person saw those beautiful eyes, quote unquote, from up there, maybe that's something. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it could be that this mesa is huge and that there's
And
like
it could be that, yes, there's harvest and it's happening on the mesa, but like the fruits fall down from there and are able to be harvested at the bottom by the people
could be a
living
butte.
around it.
Butte being a smaller mesa.
Folklore that I was thinking as an option too, of if it's spurs going up, and like, what if the mating? Because I think we're in two possible realms, like realities, right? Where they go up because they're escaping something bad happening, or they go up to mate. And if they're going up to mate and they're bringing those, and either way, they're bringing the spurs with them, but they're going up to mate, it happens regularly, like maybe once a year, once every 2 years, something like that. And then that could just be a sign of spring. You know, maybe they start going up in the cool, dry months when it's winter, and then it's like, the animals are returning, springtime has come again. They're going up to grab the sun and bring it back down. Like
I actually got it. That has inspired me. For whatever reason, in our actual world, multiple different cultures across the world have phrasing about sun showers that directly relate to marriages between animals. So in like India, it's like a wild dog wedding. In Africa, hyena wedding. In Japan, like a kitsune wedding. You know, like so many different like types of animal weddings for some reason. So what if these animals, because they're solitary, they go up to here specifically to mate? What if they're seen as almost like a metaphor for love? What if they choose one partner for life, and when they go up there, without fail, there's like a season or a day or a week of sun showers?
That's fun. And I was thinking it even could be like something about the plants coming back to life brings pollen, and there's something in the air that like the pollen gets it released into the air, and then the sun gets like there's more rainbows or something. You know, like it has an
it's just the season
visible
of love.
effect.
Like if you see
It's
these
pride.
animals,
It's pride.
Pride.
it's pride.
And I
love the
kind
rainbow
of-
idea.
I'm holding space for your suggestion about they climb up the mesa to escape predators. And I feel we're creating lots of creatures, so I would love to keep that. But I am kind of obsessed with the first creature that we create is like this origin story, like season of birth and renewal. Like, why not start there?
seasons of love.
Wait, so we're saying this is the first creature in
That
the
I'm just
we're-
no, Mama.
that
I'm saying
we are
that this is
creating.
the first creature that we are creating together. And while I do like your idea, it seems cool that the first creature that we're deciding on is also an origin, springtime, whatever type story, and we can use that
As building blocks.
survival method of escaping predators for another creature. But I think it's cool that our first creature is also about mating, etc.
Oh,
That makes
I
sense.
don't. Yeah. No, I wasn't even thinking of. I thought we were past that at this point. Yeah, no, I literally had not thought about that.
See, that was Tori was holding space for Anisha's, I think.
As
Was
I
that
think
my idea?
both.
Damn.
Both?
I think it was
could've
both.
remembered.
I was
Okay, go,
trying to
go, go.
earn. I was trying to earn Mikey Bully ticks back.
There you go.
Stamp your card.
No, I do think it's an interesting idea for this creature, you know, to bring the life, etc., to this land, which maybe motivates other things to go there. Are we thinking? Oh, you go, Anish.
I was about to probably say what you were going to say, which is
I was going to say, are we thinking now we have a good idea of this creature, how it looks and behaves, and we feel good to move to the next?
I
part of it?
don't. I have no idea what this creature looks like.
Oh,
we
okay.
kind of shifted back and forth.
Yeah,
I think
I know the folklore aspect, but
and what it
Badger was
does,
mentioned.
how it
I
goes.
wrote what I've written down so far, just from things we've talked about, and interject if things don't feel true, is a mid-sized tetrapod mammal, which means it walks on all four legs, shaggy coat that can catch spurs, large false eyes on their back to like ward off predation, worn thinks that it's coming. And then that's really all that I wrote. We liked the idea of it having hooves so it could climb up. Right?
Yeah, like goat kind of.
Yeah.
Mountain goat. Did anybody else have thoughts about the eyes? I feel like that's definitely a thing you could use during the mating process as well.
For sure.
Like,
Yes.
flap those eyes. I got my eyes on you. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of prefer if just for this first creature leading into this thing is an not alpha predator, but it's like so big
It's just
or
big.
so whatever that it doesn't really have predators. So instead of it needing to ward off predators, a lot of it is this renewal, this
Yeah.
mating. So you had talked about
mating
absol eyes,
peacock eyes.
and I'm
Oh
almost
my
thinking
gosh.
like
Mountain goat peacock.
I'm thinking like, you know, in that one fucking like Bane Batman movie where it's like you have to climb out of the hole. It's like to prove that you are that alpha, like the spring is coming. I am the creature to bring it. You have to make it up the mesa with your hooves.
Yeah.
Like, and that itself is kind of a challenge for that creature or whatever.
There's also I'm seeing like shaggy fur over the actual face and just like lumbering through and sensing, and then like the mating ritual happens and these false eyes come into play, and then afterwards it's like, okay, we have accepted each other as mates, real eyes revealed, and then they can look at each other for the really
Wow.
see each other for the first
move their
time.
bangs up.
They move their
Yeah.
bangs
Yeah.
out of the way.
And you know, I just had a thought talking about climbing up. I wonder if their like fur, or if we're saying it's like fur or whatever their coat is, like the material in which it's made, like it's pure white type thing. But when the reason it goes up there is it's this like mesa, like when it gets touched by the sun or something, like the setting, like the sun interacts with the fur in a way kind of like what's it called, a prism, and it
Yeah.
makes these beautiful colors. I don't know.
That's
Iridescent
cute.
fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Or
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if its fur was that kind of color, like naturally, like the color changes because as it goes up this mountain or this mesa or whatever, the pollen and stuff or the spurs or stuff get stuck in it, like altering its color in some way, or like making it appear to be altered color, and then like as they get deposited, it looks like something. Do you know what I mean?
or
Yep.
passes the cloud cover if it gets like above altitude of where clouds, etc. are.
What if the spurs flower at a certain altitude? So these like weird goat things are just covered in flowers that like spread their pollen.
That's kind of cute.
That's kind of
It's
adorable.
cute. Okay, here's my offering in terms of how this all comes together. In terms of the eyes being covered, I almost think of there's some Pokemon, I don't remember what it is, but it's kind of like a big rabbit's ears that come around up here.
Benelby?
Maybe, but then
Is
like
it
Yeah,
after,
but
Benelby?
after it's happened,
no.
when it raises its ears, it disperses those flowers, those, you know how when you blow on a dandelion,
Yeah.
it disseminates. Shit like that. So yes, it's collecting the spurs. They are growing in some way so that it's like, you know, it's adorned itself in flowers. And that is the eye. It's covered in flowers that attracts the mate. And after all is said and done, it reveals its real eyes and also the seeds get-
Releases.
Oh,
Possibly.
I
Yeah.
love that.
That's
That's like a whole
beautiful.
ritual to it.
Yeah.
This is a weird
And this is
animal.
creature one.
Yeah. Do we come up? What's next on the list for the
So
creature?
next, okay, yeah. So we have a good idea of how this creature looks and behaves. Now we will play out a brief scene highlighting those features and traits in more detail. We want to establish the frame for the scene. What is the lens through which we're watching its life? Is this a nature documentary complete with musical underscoring narration? Are we field biologists? Or is it seen from the creature's point of view without any human onlookers present? And we can decide this.
And we get
and
a
I think
prompt
this
for
is-
it, right?
Yeah, this scene prompt is based on another card.
Let's
Draw
get
one
the
additional card. Yep.
Yep. Doesn't worry about the suit.
Jack, which is it's a pursuit or defense.
Could be the pursuit of the mate.
Yeah, for sure.
So we take turns describing the creature using this frame. In a documentary-themed game, one player might play one of these characters, describing its actions, while another narrates for an invisible audience, and others play the terrain or whatever. So we have this scene prompt. So what do we feel like we want this scene to look like?
I was going straight into like, I guess, quote unquote, casting for it. Like, do we want someone to be one of them and then the other one, the pursuer and the follower, or the pursuer and the pursuee?
Are we doing what's the are we doing like documentary?
I like documentary.
Documentary's fun.
And then
Documentary's fun.
Yeah.
Can I be just nature? Can I just be the weather environment and just describe what the environment looks like?
I'm down for that.
Fuck yeah.
Emma, you who wants to be the documentarian? I feel like
I would love to.
Yeah.
Can I be the alpha?
Yeah.
Trying to impress the
Sure, I'll be or who wants to? Well,
You do it. You do it,
You do the
Mikey.
other.
sure, I'll be the other.
Okay.
So can we start at the bottom of the mesa?
Yeah,
Yes.
bottom of the mesa.
Once every year, there's a beautiful ritual that happens on a small mesa out in the grasslands.
I'll let the scene get set by nature. What we see.
And we see a shadowy mesa, and everything is dark. Besides this kind of blip of white on the shadowy faces of these extremely rocky walls.
Oh, and here we see the young.
We didn't think of a name for these.
No.
That's after this. That's after we do this.
Okay, we see the young pursuee making their way up the mesa in search of a mate. As you can see, her climbing.
And then what do you want to do as you climb up? Anything specific? What do you think?
Well, we
this
know for
pretty
sure we're
does?
gathering spurs, we're gathering
Yes.
seeds,
Yes.
and that's what
I
decorates
feel the
eye
spurs
coverings.
decorate my, as they climb and they're covering my face, and I'm just making my way forward, sauntering ever so slightly.
It seems as if the first one is almost unaware of the alpha behind, but as this has happened time and time before and time again, we must assume that they know exactly where they are heading.
I don't know where the hell I'm heading.
I'm doing such a great fucking job!
And there are these kind of dried little buds, these kind of vines extending out from the sides of the mesas with these burrs. And as the goats walk past, as these creatures walk past, it catches in their fur. And the more the altitude changes, the higher and higher it gets, the more sunlight begins to creep in, and their fur is shining with this beautiful iridescence, and these spurs almost act like these disco balls that are reflecting that same iridescence. It's a beautiful sight to see, and the sky is beautiful and clear, sparse clouds. It is cool, it is dry, and it is beautiful.
Long associated with love and renewal, these critters are solitary species and have not, in fact, ever seen another of their kind. This meeting at the top of the mesa will be the first time that they interact with anyone other than their blood relatives. So let's take a moment and just see how they meet and how they perform this ritual of love and renewal.
Wait, do you want to describe what you're
Hey,
doing?
no,
Because we're in an
stop it. Nope.
The thing is, we said no talking.
So you can describe the actions.
You can be
that-
like, and then I go and paw the ground. Like,
No, let this
Right?
play
Pause
out.
at you. Pause at you.
This is an audio medium, and yet
So, okay.
okay, y'all
We
just
see-
y'all act it out, and
Okay,
I'll
for the
try
lis-
to.
For the
This is
listeners who can't
hilarious.
see, Tori and Mikey are both covering their eyes with their hands like it's their like fucking bangs.
Here's what y'all just like do what you're gonna do, and I'll do my best to try and figure out what you're doing. Okay, so and also, how do we want to refer to this? Is this a male and female situation? Do we want to say like the pursuer and pursuee?
And pursuee. That's the framework that was
Okay.
set up. I like that.
Excellent. The pursuee takes a spot at the top of the mesa, bashful, and slowly turns around. And following behind, filled with gusto and sticking out their long tongue, the other critter raises the false eyes, flinging light and prismatic color all over the mesa, a dazzling show to win the heart of their mate. It seems like the pursuee might like what they see through that thick fur, as you can hear the whinnies of both critters at the top of this mesa. These sounds have long been associated with the coming spring.
Yup. and as we celebrate at the top of this mesa, unfurl those big eye bang type what was covered in seeds.
The true eyes have been revealed. These two are now bonded for life. They will return to the mesa for the next few years to mate until the next generation comes to take over.
Yup.
As, as their ears release, the spurs finally flower, almost like a flowery veil, and pollen is spread everywhere. And through some strange reaction in the atmosphere, perhaps the high altitude, it begins to rain.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
I think that I got a biology degree for this game. I think that's the only reason.
I can't think of anything more important to do with a biology degree.
Yeah, there's nothing.
One for my
we
season
did
doing
that.
this BT day.
I'm extremely glad I did not interact with that because I feel like y'all got it perfectly.
That was
Oh.
beautiful.
That was kind of incredible.
You like? Glad I didn't. Jump
No,
in.
I was honored to be an observer. I was the invisible audience watching. I'm at home watching on my TV set this
Yeah.
HBO original series.
Nodding thoughtfully.
Oh, so now we get to name them.
Yeah.
Nodding
What-
the whole
what are these
time,
called?
so everyone knows I agree.
So everyone knows I support these gay animals.
Okay, so talk to me about naming.
Are there rules for it, or do we
No,
just come
just
up
give
with
the
it?
species a name.
Once
What
you
do we
feel the
think
scene
it's
has reached a
called?
satisfying conclusion, if you have not already done so, give the species a name.
Tori, I feel like you usually have pretty good name ideas. I feel like there's something
Drip
with, like,
isocane.
with spring or like I don't know.
Spriggan.
Isn't that a Skyrim thing?
That is a Skyrim thing, but like something along that.
The male
Binny
thinking-
Shrew.
I'm thinking something like Renor rocks, where there's like renewal, there's an oratory like ear type, and it's also ox x
Oh, like it is an ox. Like ox is the
esque.
end.
I don't know. I'm kind of like an ox or a bunny. I'm like stuck between those two, but it also has hooves.
And that also works too, because there is if we're saying it's kind of similar, like there is an actual creature called an aurochs.
Oh, is there really? Well, actually, Elle, we all did the documentary and you watched it, so I feel you should have to name it.
I just wrote cloud oxen down because it's got white
Gorgeous.
fur for something to start with.
Stratonimbus,
Oh,
Stratonimbunny.
Renorox is kind of crazy, though. I like that. That's a good first hint.
What was it? What was the name?
Renorox.
I said or like oratory because the ears are such a huge part of it. Although I guess like hearing isn't the ears' main function. It's dragging and picking up seeds and spurs.
I also like the idea that like it was named before they knew about the false eyes. So maybe it's like the ocular Renorox
Ocular was where my mind also went.
because they think that they're eyes. Or like the prismatic-eyed Renorox or something. Like the something-eyed this.
Renor, and then it's
And Renar
OCC.
came from renewal, but it also could be spring, so it could be like Spororox or I don't know,
I
whatever.
like this suggestion. Ox, not spelled like OCHS or OX, but OCCS, ocular.
Ox.
Renorox.
Yeah.
Renorox. That's
Oh.
fun. That's fun. Send it.
Renorox.
All
Send
right,
it.
someone write it down. Renorox.
I wrote it down.
Sweet.
Okay, now we move on. Now your minds are about to be blown. We move on to natural selection. Not we're not going to kill the creatures, like they don't die. or
Thank
anything.
God.
We are going to create our next creature, and in order to do that, we move our leftmost creature card to the far right so that the cards are arranged in a new order. These same cards can be used in their new order to come up with another creature. Follow the same process as before, responding to the new prompts to fill in the details about your new species. As you create this new animal, consider how it coexists with the previous species. Are they predator and prey? Do they have a symbiotic relationship? Do they ignore each other or compete for territory? Once you've created this creature, frame another scene with the new species as a central focus. Be sure to give them a name as well. And then we'll do it one more time. So going back to the prompts, the first creature card is now the 9 of Hearts. It is so great. I love that we only have hearts for all of these creatures.
Oh yeah, so they're all going to be
It's very
mammals.
fun.
Mammals. We're a very mammal-focused.
So a
documentary crew.
decomposer or recycler mammal.
Oh, and
Hell yeah.
And then the second creature card is the 7 of Hearts. So it's going to be powerful hind limbs for jumping, running, kicking. Who knows? And then the third
Then
creature
the final
card.
one is an ace. It's an invasive species.
Ooh.
Something that tags along on the ears that maybe shouldn't.
Interestingly enough, since we have all hearts, that does mean that all of our creatures are going to be solitary species.
Dang.
Is there a possibility to switch?
The lonely
One of
Renorox
those out.
seems to free their
There's-
mind at night.
I think there's an option to just completely draw new cards.
Yeah. Like, I think in terms of just interest in ecosystem, I think switching at least one out to switch out the solitary species would be interesting, especially if it's invasive. I guess they could lay eggs everywhere or like leave babies behind, but there's got to be a lot of them. you know?
Nowhere in the rules does it say to switch out the cards.
Okay. Okay. Scary. Okay, scary.
I mean, it could be a creature
New
that-
ecosystem within RPG has been established. We have an alpha. I said new
What about the
I'm just
who's the
kidding.
Sigma?
It's genuine. I
It
mean,
Present.
also says, actually, if you encounter a prompt you do not want to use, you can change it, sidestep it, or draw a different card instead.
That's what I was referring to.
Ooh.
objection.
Objection.
the rule of cool,
Wait,
which
where does
you
it say
actually
that, by the way?
introduced
At
It's
the very beginning,
lines
safety
and veils.
comfort.
Oh yeah, I mean, if y'all would like to change the third card, if we want, instead of moving the card to the back, we could just move it to the back and replace it for each one, if that makes sense.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just
So
to
then
give a
they'll
little
still all be
variety.
mammals, I guess.
Stop that reversing.
Okay, so
All
what kind of
mammals.
draw a new card? What is this one?
The 8 of Diamonds.
So
What does that mean?
that means it'll be
Tool user.
tool user species lives in very small groups.
Well,
Oh,
we said tool use comes in many forms. I would be
yeah,
open to see
we
what
can
we
talk
come up
about
with
it.
because maybe the tool is how did
The
they get up
spurs.
that motherfucking thing?
Maybe they attach themselves to the spurs and lash on.
Like little they'd have to be really teeny mammals.
Maybe when they're
Okay.
babies, they do that.
Oh yeah, like little yeah. I like that. Very small groups.
Y'all know about male angler sharks or anglerfish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Tell me.
So anglerfish that you see in like most media, those big fuck all scary looking fish
With the light?
with the dangly things. I think they're all females.
All
of
the
them?
big ones are.
All the big ones are females.
Girl bossed.
They're extremely girl boss. In fact, so girl boss that
Yeah.
the men are these tiny little guys that kind of bite onto them and attach, and then essentially become sperm sacs that deposit sperm
Yeah.
onto the female.
They merge with the female body and just leave gonads, and then the main anglerfish can decide when to essentially impregnate herself.
And honestly, yeah,
Listen,
Me and the bitch I
That's-
pulled by
that's me.
leaving gonads.
y'all should. Where
We got truck nuts.
have y'all heard of the field of queer ecology?
oh,
Like it's a field in biology that is not the name can be confusing because it's not like looking at biology and being like they're gay, even though animals are
wish.
gay sometimes. It's like we have these ideas about sex and gender from a very human-centric point of view and a very societal-centric point of view. And when we look at and this is not a call out at all, Anish, but you being like, and then the man deposits it, like, that's a fish.
that's a fish.
You know, like
That's
they
just a
don't have
fish.
concepts of like male and female the way that we do, and like
Yeah.
the genes are also very different depending on the animal. We just have categorized them all based on what we know of our
As opposed to
species.
pursuer and pursuee, I hear what you're saying.
That kind of
Because
stuff.
sometimes one is more passive and like maybe I'll take the gonads or not, versus it's more
Yeah.
pursuing, like, please have my gonads.
And like when you look at there's some bugs that reproduce through parthenogenesis, which is essentially just asexual reproduction, and we call them all female. And it's like, but if there's only one, is
Then
there
who said
female
that?
and male, or is it just like we call them female because like eggs and that moves forward? But it's like, but they're like what? It's
There's
just
a
bug.
What's happening?
this book I've been reading recently that I love. It's like one of the best sci-fi series ever. It's called I've ever read, called Sun Eater. Like it's like humanity is at war with this alien species called the Yeltsin, and the main character, like, he can read and like speak their language and stuff. And there's this fascinating thing, like, you know, because it's in the first person narrative, and it's written like him writing about the past, about these times that he experienced it. There's all this stuff where like humanity is interacting with these alien creatures, and people are like, oh, he, like her, blah 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 blah, and him in his head is always correcting them because he's like, they're hermaphroditic, so there is no like male female. And then like it's interesting because he's interacting with like a prince like character, but then he finds out that the prince is like technically like mothered this other, and so it like really goes into that whole like the difference of the biology. It's fascinating.
Have you read the Xenogenesis trilogy by Octavia Butler? It's crazy good. That
Something I
shit is
love
my
about you,
favorite.
Mikey, is anytime I hear you mention a book name, it's always followed by probably the best blank I've ever read. I love that you
That
love
you
all these
enjoy
things.
things.
I really love the thing.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
great. I think that's lovely.
Probably the best sci-fi fantasy crossed with horror, you know, docu-fantasy I've ever read. And it's like, okay.
But the Xenogenesis trilogy, that book, particularly the first one, it's called Dawn, I want to say, is my favorite sci-fi book. It's like really, really, really good. It beat Annihilation, and I really liked Annihilation.
I was about to say, I knew you really liked Annihilation, which Anish and I were. I was telling Anish to check Annihilation out.
You should read Annihilation. It's really good. I just read another one of Jeff Vandermeer's books.
And I just want to say to the listeners, I celebrate this, but not all of us are readers. Some of us are players and gamers. Not reading is valid sometimes.
Valid.
Having no idea what people are talking about because you spend all your time on Twitter. Actually, let me not die on this hill.
That's re-
Okay,
That's
so we were
reading.
talking about many mammals.
We have a lot of mammals. This
Mini
one,
is in small, right?
this one is a decomposer or recycler. It's got powerful hind limbs. It is an invasive species, and it uses tools and lives in small groups.
It's no longer an invasive species since we changed it. It's now just a tool user.
Oh, that's what we changed. I thought we just
Yeah.
changed the small groups one.
No,
I
we changed it
kinda-
from.
that indicates both.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Cool.
kind of love the idea that the Rhaenyrax is so huge that maybe this small, strong-legged hind creature could be something of a field mice colony, and
Yeah.
they're able to find a big enough burr or seed, and together use their powerful hind leg to launch themselves onto the Rhaenyrax. So they're using that And they're using the seed as a vehicle for getting up the
Yeah.
mesa.
It's like a little
That's so much cooler than
Pokeball.
what I thought, because I thought they were just jumping onto the seeds. I like that a lot.
Because
If
we said
we-
they work in groups, right? So like maybe it
Yeah.
takes all of them to take one of these things and like jump at the same time onto the Renorox.
The only thing that I'll throw out there as a possibility, because I was thinking of it as the only thing I'll throw out there as a possibility, since we're no longer tied to the idea of invasive species, is they might just live up there. Like they might be an animal that was up there the whole time, and maybe as a decomposer or recycler, like when these burrs come off and they fall off, there's got to be like husks of it. Maybe that's a main
Or-
part of what they use or eat.
Or maybe, like bouncing off of what Tori was saying, they jump on to the Renorox and pull the seeds off, pull the burrs off, and then they like that's how the seeds get off of the Renorox.
Could it be like how squirrels accidentally like plant trees because they
accidentally cache
they like
nuts, yeah.
forget where they put their nuts? So like they grab the if they grab the spurs or whatever they do, they interact with the spurs and then like move them around, but like they've got too many spurs to actually eat all of them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're in a dry, not full desert, like there's plant life, but it's a dry area. I'm thinking burrows in some way. What if like the mesa, the structure of the mesa is like you can't see it from the outside, but it's like catacombs inside. Like there's little
Catacombs?
I was actually thinking that
Catacombs.
earlier.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
that would be
Dig a
great.
tunnel, dig a tunnel.
Because
and then
y'all were talking
they like come out and jump and grab the burrs, and then they go back to their little holes.
back when the Renoroxes were involved with predators potentially. Like I know they're not anymore, but like y'all mentioned like threats from above or below, and I remember thinking in my head like, what if there were catacombs and like big creatures that were in the mesa? But I like the idea of opening up like little holes in there and like making it so there could be more inside of it, like a dwarf mountain.
Yeah,
What are they recycling?
that's a good question.
I forgot that they had to recycle stuff.
I think that
Said let it grow.
I mean, with dead plant material that's going to be stuck up on the mesa, like it'll either fall down the sides or they'll be collecting it. They could be recycling the spurs from the critter that comes up. Maybe that's like their main harvest, and then otherwise, I think it could be cute if they're living in tunnels. Maybe they bring down like sticks and leaves and like make it comfy.
It could be something similar to what we were talking about when we were first conceptualizing the Renorox, about them pulling off the seeds and eating it, and then like pooping out the like the remains, and that's kind of the fertilization, like the fertilizer.
Yeah, they help with the process. Yeah, that's great.
Question. Decomposer can also mean like eat dead things.
Yes,
Right.
it can.
I'm trying to think of mammals that eat specifically only dead things.
Vultures.
So that's not a mammal. That's
Wait,
so close.
you're on the
Um,
right track.
So dead things can be dead, like plant material too.
But are there hyenas? No. Well, I guess
Hyenas are scavengers.
They're
Sca-
scavengers.
Scavenger is also different than decomposer,
Decomposers.
but it could we could stretch that for sure.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know of anything.
I don't. We're not on Earth right now, are we? Like it could be.
No.
Possums.
Like,
Possums eat dead things.
possums eat a lot of dead things. Raccoons eat
Yeah.
a lot of dead things, like
Raccoons.
rotting food.
It could be like a tanuki.
My tangent to prove how smart I am is that hogs, pigs, in like certain religions are considered like, well, these could be sacrificed to gods because they are whatever so delicious, and then other creatures like these things are so filthy we cannot eat them, was based off of what food was available for the hogs at the time, because hogs they will eat dead pigs, they eat whatever. So in some cultures they're eating nuts and plants, and they're like, great, let's sacrifice this thing to the gods. And others, they're eating feces and corpses. They're like, do not touch that creature.
No, that's definitely a thing from my culture. Like domesticated pigs, no. But boars, they're from nature, wild things. little bit better.
Wild thing.
So it sounds like
You make my heart sing.
it sounds like we're talking about a ecosystem that has very little food resources. So we've got like a scavenger living in tunnels that is mostly just eating dead like bugs and shit that it can find. And then maybe when the Renorox comes up, that's like, oh, the bounty is here because we've
Thank
got
God.
living plants again.
And so they like gather and collect.
Store it. Also, something that blew my mind, any listeners who live in North Carolina, there was this fucking museum and it demonstrated these ants that Loki like farmed.
Are you talking about the museum where I
What
work?
museum is it?
I'm not gonna dox you.
That's okay. I have a
There's
public.
this, there's
You can
this,
find me on LinkedIn.
but these ants would take dying leaves and put them in soil, and because of that, they would grow mushrooms, and the ants would fucking eat the mushrooms. They were literally farming.
So maybe that's what these guys do. That's cool.
Wait, they're tool users, right?
Isn't
Yeah,
that
they're
insane?
totally-
Yes.
And they're
Oh my
yes.
God.
Yeah.
Farming
Tie it all back
XP.
together.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yes.
Farming XP
Edge,
I
they're
think-
edge guarding.
What if
on the mesa.
I love the idea. It seems like we're talking about something that burrows. I'm personally a huge fan of moles.
I love
Love
moles.
those. I love their big hands. They're weird.
And like the little, are we talking about, and the little
The
starfish
star
nose?
nose. The star-nosed mole.
star-nosed. Love that guy. I don't know how we can remix him, but with some powerful hind legs, what if they burrow backwards?
That's fun. And I bet that would make sense if they have to carry something in their mouth. Like they're carrying decomposing stuff and then they're using their hind legs to scoop out the earth behind them.
Love it.
That's funny.
Sold.
They just move backwards. Love that. They just carry things in. And we're just saying that they're decomposing and like reusing, just general other dead critters to grow mushrooms. Because I love that idea.
Dead material, rotting plant, rotting seeds that didn't get fertilized.
They
And I'll
use
put best
bone meal.
time of the year is when a little nasty option.
Poop,
A little
the poop,
yeah,
Renoroc
the poop from the Renorox makes the best freaking mushrooms.
Okay, so this thing, and can we say that they live on top of the mesa all seasons?
I think so.
The
Yeah.
Renorox is what
on
takes
top of
the
an
journey.
inn.
They live up there and are benefited by the Renorox's presence, but otherwise they have been able to farm dying plant material to create fungus to survive when they don't have the Renorox's beautiful harvest.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I can't wait to learn this creature's name. Uses hind legs to burrow.
What does its hind legs look like? Because I can't
Yes.
think of using it backwards. I
Okay.
can think of
They
it
look like a
using
grasshopper.
So you know how horse legs, if you look at anatomy compared to us, it's actually like their knuckles. Like what if their paws are at a place where they can bend the other way? So they are like scooping.
Oh, I
So
love
their
that.
whole leg goes and like scoops forward and then they can keep kicking it forward with like their head and front paws and then keep scooping
Very
them out.
spore.
Very spore. I imagine if we made this little creature in spore, it would have the weirdest walk ever. Like it just
Oh, yeah.
legs flapping all over the place. And like if you ever seen a mole crawl on the surface, it also looks weird. It looks like it's trying to swim.
I love moles.
Love
I think
them.
if I was an animal, I would be a mole, specifically the golden mole. That's me.
I love that guy.
Writing that down for no context spoilers.
You might be the pink fairy armadillo though. You know that guy?
Let me look it up. LOL. I think I'm a hairy animal. Aw, it's so cute. It looks like a caterpillar. It looks like a
Gosh,
big
it's-
fucking caterpillar.
I need everybody to do a favor and look this little creature up.
Pink fairy armadillo.
And then in a second tab, look up golden mole.
Chat, if you can spell armadillo without looking it up,
Tori, you have to read a book. Like,
You can spell
armadillo?
what? You
armadillo.
can't spell armadillo?
Mama, when I tell you I spelled it and it was so far gone, Google didn't even give it a red line. It was like
It's
it didn't even give you like a suggested like what is this supposed to be? It wasn't even close.
How did you spell it?
I don't here, let me see if I still Ooh. Amedidildo. Amadidlo.
AM. Wait, what? AM what?
I'll just send it in chat. And this was my first guess.
Oh, I gotcha.
Aim a dildo?
Amadidlo.
How did you not hear armadillo?
Armadillo. Armadillo. That's so good.
What the hell were we talking about? It uses its legs.
The pink fairy armadillo looks like a sushi to me.
It does.
Oh,
Sashimi.
Wait, that's so funny because one of the main pictures that came up was that for me. Let me send it.
Nah,
It's
it's
cute.
freaky a little. I don't like that it has armor on the top and fur on the bottom. Freak.
But
I want
yeah,
to look
like-
up what you said. Golden hair. Golden mole.
I sent it in the chat too. Golden
I've
mole.
been a golden mole.
But yeah, like it said large feet or large powerful legs, and we thought about jumping, but maybe it is powerful like excavator.
Digging legs.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, are we ready to name this creature or?
We have
have
to,
to-
We have to do
To
the
do
scene.
this.
You can also
Scene.
name it whenever, but like, yeah, you could do this.
Oh, well, I'm trying to watch this. I don't want to be in it.
I also just in terms of living before we dive right into the scene, it be living in small groups. Do we feel like the tunnels that it lives in is like one family unit, and then they come out and like they may?
My God, they're cottage core. They're growing mushrooms. a
It's
small
like
family.
Like the
it's.
little-
I imagine it's like Fantastic Mr. Fox, but like
Yeah.
the mole in Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Here's a scene that we've been given, a scene prompt we've been given. Child rearing.
Child rearing. Oh my God. Do we want what frame do we want to do this time? Documentary again or?
How did they get their cameras in there?
I
What?
kind of hate that I said we couldn't use language because, of course, it's like, ma, can dig ma.
I think that IMO, I'd be down for doing documentaries throughout, but like switching
Yeah,
who does
same.
what.
Works for me. I love.
I do want to
consistency.
do the. I want to describe the world at some point, but I don't know whether I want to do it for this one or the next one.
I want to be an armadillo. I want to be a baby armadillo.
I'll be
I
the
can-
mother. Oh, you
Oh,
can be
okay.
the mother.
I could be I could be a second baby armadillo
or a second mother. Right.
because they have like, or I could be the papa. You're the one that birthed the baby, and then I'm bringing back like
The rotting.
leaves.
Correct. And I'm watching the documentary.
So we don't have a narrator?
Wait,
Cool.
we
I'll be the
share it.
narrator.
Yeah, Mikey's
sweet.
narrating.
Well, then you can interject like if there's anything that happens in the environment, like maybe a collapsed tunnel or something, like something like that. I don't know.
Nature.
Like, nature.
something
The
always-
face you just made, Tori.
Tori's like, I'll be at home watching because I'm not doing that shit. Like,
Well, I just, God forbid, it's like, don't let me be dark sided where I'll be like, and then the tunnel collapses.
I'm sure that their powerful hind legs could deal with that.
Yeah, it's.
I
Part
guess
of the
we'll
nature
find out.
documentary
Yeah,
where
okay.
the fun story happens.
It's like the part in the one where the baby monkey accepts that it's going to be eaten by the leopard, and it just
I hate
fades
that.
away.
I hate that thing.
It looks
That
down
video.
at the GIF. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's a no spoilers thing. Yeah.
That's no book readers. They'll get this. They don't know Annihilation, but they know Baby Monkey succumbs to fate and accepts it. GIF.
Okay. Take us away. Take us on a journey.
The sun rises on the lowly mesa as faint mist rises up from the ground below, and we push forward and see a hole dug into the center of the formation. As we go down inside, we can see the shapes of burrows crisscrossing back and forth through the dirt, dug by a family of small creatures. We see these creatures playing together as they gather their different fertilization materials, as they all wake up and go about their daily routines.
But what's the mama doing? Yeah, mama and baby.
The baby is rolling around in this pile of dead leaves, and it's about to roll out of the enclosure it's in down a tunnel.
Wait, hold up. Is the baby? I thought the baby was being born.
No.
Rearing, child rearing.
Oh.
Rearing.
Not bearing.
Oh my god.
But good distinction.
As we watch, we
You're
see
like, I don't want to play that character anymore.
Wait, I don't know.
We see
Which one am I again?
You're the mama. You're the mama.
You're rearing
we
the
see
child.
the nature of
the
these
child's about to
creatures.
fall.
They have a very hands-off approach
She did,
to their
yeah.
child rearing. As we watch as the child begins to make their fall down the tunnel further into the depths.
And then we see another one pick up the baby in its mouth. That's me. And climb back up using my powerful hind legs. And I deposit it at the mama's feet.
Picking the baby up by the scruff of its neck comes the father, crawling back up and depositing it down in front of the mother. The mother? What does the mother think of this creature?
The mother looks angrily, like not with emotion, but sort of just like kicks dirt at the baby.
What the fuck?
The mother is done with rearing the creature. Now, all the mother wants to do is go out and gather its poop from the aurochs, the Renorochs. It is about that season. The mother doesn't care about this child.
No,
The-
it's the mother
the
is
Papa one?
punishing the child for misbehaving.
Oh, the mother is punishing the child for
What
misbehaving.
the fuck? The papa,
As
the
we know,
papa
negative
one
reinforcement.
starts licking the baby to remove the extra dust, and does a little like nips at the mom. Like
The
it,
baby wakes up fully now, realizing its folly, and it will not do the same again.
Stomp, stomp, stomp. Here comes a Renorox.
I have to leave. I have to go. The papa
The
takes off.
sounds of majesty coming to the mesa as the creatures crawl out and see the majestic Renorochs engaged in a heaty form of mating.
Yeah. Yeah.
The papa one goes around as like spurs fly off. I'm like gathering them. I'm getting them all.
The mama digs a deeper hole so that the baby can remain safe because the mama really cares.
In a contrast to the earlier scene, we see that the mom does care about the child.
And then
The
with the
mother is
child
a-
safe, yeah, what does mama do?
The
With the
mother
night
is
off.
emotionally manipulating the child into
This is
into being
Wait,
dependent
is it-
on her. But I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. This is not.
However,
That's
right as the
Qubz.
mom begins to dig this tunnel, the Renorox wanders over and deposits a large pile of feces right in front of the tunnel.
time to use those hind legs. I am kicking the pile of feces down into the tunnel for us to grow fungus out of it.
fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
The mama begins to process.
Home is where the feces is.
The mother begins to process this into the farming technique, leaving the baby alone in the hole.
Baby requests a mushroom.
How? I want to hear it. I want to hear how baby requests. What's the sound I hear?
Are you giving it the mushroom?
The mother looks at the mushroom. She wanted to keep it for herself, but she decides to share it with the child.
Mama pours a large glass of mushroom wine, and then
Is that the end of this one?
Mommy needy a mushroomy.
That has been Olivia Castles with this episode of The Wonderful World. Signing out.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow.
We got
To be
Hey,
fair to mama, they live in small groups. So if you are constantly with the same 5 to 10 people, I am certain you're happy for some alone time. I am
she worked
certain.
hard.
Because we haven't talked about how long these creatures gestate. Let's say it was an 8-year pregnancy. It's like, you can figure out your own mushroom.
God!
Oh my
Well, I don't know.
god.
Some animals are kind of neglectful. I don't know.
Yup.
Not if they live together in small
Yup.
groups.
You're right.
And we
Wait,
said we are
Tasmanian
not
devils.
shying away from the cruelty that is
That's
Mother
true.
Nature. So
This is the
could be.
truth, the raw, uncut truth.
Next
Mother
time, I'm
mole
playing
creature
the
was
mom.
valid.
And I'm the mom.
And I'm the mom.
All right, what's the name?
Huh.
What's the name of this creature?
Oh, the name of this creature.
Wine mole.
What'd you say?
Wine mole.
Wine mole.
No.
I like wine mole, TBH.
Did you say wine mole or mine mole?
Wine, because you drank
Wine.
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 Wine mole.
I
Or
like
to do
something with like
mushrooms.
agri-crawler, like they're an agricultural
Agriculture.
That's so good.
That's
Agricrawler is fun.
like something with fungus maybe.
Myco
but, like,
mole?
but just because Mikey, what do you?
What?
you mean?
Myconid is the, like,
Oh, yeah, the
Creatures.
Myconid colony in Baldur's Gate 3.
myco mole. You know,
Mica
something
mole.
like-
How about we just combine it? Mica mole agricrawler.
Nah.
No,
That
that's
sounds
like
right.
a.
That sounds like a Mad Max like.
I was
I do
thinking
like
like a.
agricrawler.
Dementus!
I don't like
I was-
crawler.
It's all right. We could combine something with. They use fungus.
Mice.
Something
Mice. Fungant.
Fungant.
I feel like
Fungant.
a lot of animals are also have like multiple words.
True.
As there, so it
The
could be like the
Wheelie-eyed mouse.
like
mole.
the spur collecting mole, or
Yep.
like the I don't know.
Harvest mouse. Spurred mole.
Oh,
Harvest.
the harvest.
I like
The
Harvest
harvest.
mole.
The harvest mole.
I
And we
like
could add
harvest
tunnel
mole.
in there too. The harvest.
The
tunnel
harvest
mole.
tunnel mole.
The tunneling harvest mole.
Okay, the tunneling harvest mole.
Yeah, I like that. Cool.
Cool.
Alrighty. So natural selection. Next creature.
The tunneling harvest mole.
I mean, okay, agricrawler's fine too if we want. I didn't mean to completely reject that. That was
You
I
know
said
what?
I meant
You
it
know-
more
you know
jokingly,
what?
But I said it really serious, and I didn't.
You
mean
said
it
it.
like that.
Listen, it
The
happened.
readers, players, gamers will decide whether you were valid or not. They
You know,
may
I
rebel
feel-
against you. It
Wait,
won't.
who
We
came
won't know
up with
until
agricrawler?
me. It won't
Tori,
be until
yeah.
the
I think
episode airs.
you must have thought it was me who said it. That's why you did it.
That's fair.
Because I said it immediately after Tori did.
Okay. So far on our mesa, we have Renorox and the tunneling harvest mole. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
I also love like there has to be other types of creatures here, but maybe this documentary is focusing on like mammal life in different biomes. And so
Might
we're
change
doing
coming
a
up because we just got a diamond, right?
Oh,
No.
because that moves. Where does it move to? I don't know.
So the 9 goes away.
The 9 goes away.
The 9 of hearts goes away. And what
Is
do we
7
have
of
now?
hearts? We currently have a
7 of hearts
and
is
an
now
8
the
of
first
diamonds.
one.
Cool.
Then
So what
8
does
of
that mean?
diamonds. And we get a new thing. 5 of hearts.
5 of hearts. Okay, what does 7 of hearts mean in the first?
7 of hearts means it is it's a mammal. It's a burrower or builder.
Okay, let's do builder.
Because we
Yeah.
have
We have a
burrower.
burrower.
Because we have burrower.
Builder,
I was thinking the same.
mammal. Maybe
and
up
then we
up in the shrubs.
Then we have 8 of diamonds, which means leathery wings or hide.
Hell yes.
So if it like has wings, it could be like building
like a
nests,
bat,
like a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
or a bat.
incredible.
And then the final thing we have 5 of hearts, which means horns or antlers, and wrong thing. It means dwellings or nests, which goes with builders,
Look at
and
that.
a solitary species.
That's okay because birds are like that makes sense.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks because I love the idea of a bat with antlers.
Oh, it can be a bat, just more like
It can have
if
antlers,
It's flying
like-
back and forth. Yeah,
Friends, can we make a carnivore?
yeah. Let's do it.
Speak on it.
What if it's a carnivore? How do
It
we
eats
feel
the
about
tunneling mouse?
thinking about like vampire bat-esque like carnivore, but not
Ooh.
necessarily killing things, like keeping them and taking from them.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
like
it can like
that.
suck the blood of the little harvest mouse or of the Renorox.
Yeah.
Wait, do they build traps for the moles? And then like,
How smart are they?
oh yeah, they're not tools.
Is a question.
Because
Is
I
it-
could see them sucking the blood from the Renorox, and the Renorox being just such a large creature, it doesn't even notice or like need
And
it.
I love how that kind of brings it, like the Renorox is unbothered by all this shit, but it represents springtime and renewal to everybody else. Like the spurs come and help feed, and like the feces helps feed the tunneling harvest mole, and then this critter feeds on it too. But during the months where the Renorox isn't there, maybe this creature does have to go and like take out one of these little moles.
So it does both. I imagine vampire bats also do both. Do we know why vampire bats drink blood?
It's pretty nutritious. I think it's just a niche.
Iron.
Let me look it up.
Let me look it up. Yeah, that's interesting.
I remember looking this up a while ago.
I remember looking at a GIF on Twitter. So
Vampire bats drink blood for survival, and it's essential for their diet. They're the only mammals that can survive exclusively on blood, and they can go multiple nights without eating without dying. In fact, if a vampire bat misses more than one night of feed, what? Hold on.
Are you reading the
There's-
AI shit?
So, okay,
Ooh.
because of their nutrient poor diet, vampire bats have meager stores of energy, making them particularly vulnerable to starvation. Going multiple nights without slurping up blood is often fatal, so vampire bats will readily help out a hungry roost mate by regurgitating blood into their companion's mouth. So that was like kind of an idea I had of like the building, like maybe there's a receptacle for the blood and they like spit it out.
They have
Into-
blood baths.
Like a
That's cool.
Yeah.
the perpetual soup.
From a evolution thing, because you were asking why they drink blood, they're thought to have transitioned from eating insects to then eating blood by eating blood-filled insects. So they like ate insects, ate mosquitoes, and then went to like, why don't I cut out the middleman? And just go
And
direct from the source.
Some human cultures, if there's a creature like a goat who's not producing as much milk as, like, say, a cow, you might bleed the goat and then patch the hole and drink the blood if it's not producing as much milk as, like, you know what I mean, would be
Did
sustainable.
you
So
major in anthropology?
it's so funny you ask.
Okay. But yeah, I kind of love the idea of, even though they're a more solitary species, that they help out their own species.
I
Agree.
do like
Yeah.
the idea of building a communal bloodbath.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea a lot. That's fun.
And
that
we
what
like
the
the fact
spurs are
that they
for?
have wings, much like a bat. We don't have any winged creatures.
Yeah, they've got
What if the spurs, when they get like fall off or whatever, they create holes like that bleed from the Renorox?
That's a great idea.
And their
that's, like,
saliva when they're licking up, like closes up the wounds.
they have a symbiotic relationship with the Renorox, and then an antagonist relationship with the rest of the animals that live on the mesa.
I
So-
love that.
Okay, so yes, the spurs, because we know the Renorox is so huge that the spurs, in order to pierce the skin of the Renorox, would probably be relatively large.
Oh,
And
that's
then
a good
if
point.
the saliva has a property that seals off the open wound, how does the third creature get blood from the tunneling harvest mole? Is it a proboscis? Is it teeth? Is it a horn that they stab? How are we seeing that?
I like the idea that maybe, like, if it's a hunter, it could have wings with like the hooks on the end so it can crawl through easily. And maybe it could be just very classic vampire, and then it literally comes into your tunnel in the middle of the night or during the day, depending on whether they're nocturnal or diurnal, and like feasts while the moles are sleeping and then leaves.
Oh my god. That's so creepy. That
They
is
can-
genuinely so creepy.
That they can crawl through the tunnels? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
The
terrifying.
mama harvest mouse is gets the
Ahem.
blood sucked.
Tunneling
Harvest
harvest
mole.
mole. Please don't confuse
Tunneling
our
harvest
listeners.
mole. Sorry.
See, yes, Mama has been having blood drained for the past 3 nights. Incredibly
Yes.
lightheaded, busy. Correct. I just need a moment to myself where someone's not constantly calling for my attention and or blood.
I feel like my life is being sucked out of me.
Now it's getting a little real.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay, so we have a third creature. We're saying it has wings, but with hooks, the ability to tunnel through. The way it extracts the blood is through piercing and sucking and possibly regurgitating some of that into a shared blood pool.
It could
Where
have
do they
like
Perpetual soup.
Question: where do they sleep?
they they have dwellings or nests. So I think they've got to be in like the shrubbery, right? Like if we've got some shrubs. What were you thinking?
I didn't know, genuinely, because
It could-
I
I
also
mean,
don't know
it could be a thing
I still
like-
don't know what they
like,
look like. Are they bats?
if it's a-
or are they weird?
If it's a grassland type situation, it could be something like like cactus
Yeah.
or something like hollow out something that's dangerous. I don't know. I'm like,
Oh, hollow out like a cactus. You're living in it. That's also where you store the blood. So like if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go and you cut a cactus, it like oozes red.
fucking bleeds. Terrible. Love it.
Instead of roots, the cactus has veins, and they can
Ugh.
deposit into the
yeah,
veins
baby.
while they're in the
Um,
tunnel system.
A while ago, we mentioned Hunter x Hunter, very cool series, in which that the Chimera Ant arc, we just fuse a bunch of animals and get their powers. I'd like to play with that idea. Is this a bat and something else? Just to make something new.
No,
Something we
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
seen before.
not like a straight bat. What are you thinking, Emma?
This is more behavior than so it needs to be able to move very easily. Bats don't really have talons. What if this creature has the hooks and then also has powerful talon feet? And here's the behavior that I thought of with tool use too. I brought it up earlier, but I'm bringing it up now. Of if the moles are out, specifically babies, they can pick them up, put them up high, drop them, hit that communal bloodbath, and then as these critters come, they can feast on them as they go.
There's that morbid reality. Real birds, I think they're called shrikes.
Yeah.
They use sharp trees or needles
Yes.
to like literally skewer
on
animals.
the cactus. Drop them
So,
on the
like,
cactus. They're bleeding out. Oh.
They're bleeding out into the cactus pool. Like,
Yeah. You know what, like, the image
That's
I saw,
crazy.
like, in terms of kind of
I'm kind of obsessed.
visualizing what the bird looked like, or what the creature looked like. I saw it kind of like, talking about like a bat, but with like a face of an owl.
ooh, what the hell? That's crazy.
I don't know.
Big
A beak?
eyes. And since it's a mammal, it wouldn't necessarily have like a beak, but I like the idea of like the teeth have grown to like
Oh, that's right. It is a mammal. You're right.
pierce really like almost rabbit teeth in the front.
Ooh.
And then they like poke a hole and then they like suck it. So it looks kind of beakish because it's those two
Like
incisors.
yeah, like rodent beaverish,
Yeah.
but sharp,
Yeah.
which is a beak, I guess.
yeah, like a
I
convergent evolution to beak.
You mentioned my anthropological lore. Actually, outside of well, God bless. Now I can't remember the name of the building. I watched that happen where a bird picked a squirrel up and went about 40 feet, dropped it. And the squirrel, to its credit, bounced, kept running.
Incredible.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Of
Did
like, if you
not
drop
die.
a mouse from the Empire State Building, well, maybe not a mouse, but like if you drop a mouse from a very, very high point, like it'll be fine because it's so teeny.
That's
Yeah.
it's-
If you dropped me from the Empire State Building, I'd be fine with it too.
Yeah. So, a real quick recap of what we have so far for this animal. It's a builder mammal. It's got leathery wings. It lives in dwellings or nests, a solitary species. We've decided through this that it's carnivorous and drinks blood and has this communal blood bath where they live in solitary areas, but then they all come and take from this area. But it's got kind of a bat-like body, but with hooks and then talons and really sharp teeth that protrude from its mouth. It's symbiotic with the Rhinorocs in that as they come up and they lose their spurs and they've got blood seeping, it drinks that blood and helps them heal. But on the months and the seasons where the Rhinorocs is not present, they are predators to the tunnel harvesting mole and perhaps lift them up into the air and drop them on cactuses and have the blood drip down ugh. And go in at night, and like I feel like that would happen when the moles are out and about, and when the moles are in the tunnels, they can use their hooks to get in there and sustain themselves.
It's probably more dangerous
Yeah.
to go in there. And here, just throwing it out there, maybe this is too like societal, cultural. Is it one cactus that is it one cactus that if these creatures choose to drop the prey on, it's always that cactus where it means I'm done with this. Anyone who needs it can come have it?
I think that's great. I think that's the communal bloodbath part. Like
cactus.
there's a killing cactus that's known, because I feel like that would be both survival of like you have to share to survive for a lot of these species, like the vampire bats. They share
Especially
all
in
the
Mesa?
time. Yeah.
Where else are you
then,
going?
like, there's only going to be so many cactuses that are like tall enough, have big enough spikes, like, so it makes sense that they'd all be using the same one, even without like societal communication.
Bats can hang, gonna be honest. I feel like they're the type of bats where if they got married, they'd have separate beds. You know, like they get it. Does that make sense?
I'll take it. Okay. Cool.
I've always liked bats, and I've always understood the appeal of having two separate rooms. To have your own space is sacred. To have your own cacti.
We drew what card did we draw?
It was the queen, which means mates or rivals.
Can we do rivals?
I really like the idea of two rivals, like two competing for prey or something.
Yeah.
Who can have the juiciest squish on the killing cactus?
Or, no, I think that's great. I was going to say, it might be difficult. Like, you have to navigate getting onto the cactus to get the blood. If it's like, because it's full of spikes and they have these talons so they could like climb on it. But maybe if there's a scuffle, then they like.
Oh, two oomphs fighting for a lick of the driplets.
Yeah.
As
and
opposed to two oomphs fighting for who's got the biggest drop on the cacti. I like that. I'll narrate.
Watching.
You're watching?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to be one of these creatures. My other idea was that I could be one of the moles at the beginning.
One of the prey. I was like, why was I also drawn to the prey role?
Mikey and I can fight over it.
Cool.
Okay,
We're fighting. Put them up.
So can I be, just for sake of both, I'll be the one that drops it initially and the mole as it drops. And then, yeah.
And then you can also semi-serve as like environmental circumstance, possibly.
Sure.
Unless you also take that. It's like, I'm not quite clear on who gets to be what.
Narrate some weather.
Some wild cards. Yeah.
Got you.
Wild thing. You make my heart sing. Okay.
See, the thing is, that joke did not go well the first time, so I would not bring it back. Are
you giving Mikey lessons?
Wait, did I do that? Did I do that joke before?
No, I did it, and it didn't really land, Mama.
It did.
Anyway,
I remember.
I
remember
child rearing right here. Child rearing right here.
This is
gentle
not
parenting.
This is not child rearing.
It's not gentle parenting.
Oh, you're child rearing me.
It's rude as hell parenting.
Forgive us, Emma. We cannot emulate something we do not know.
I'm like, you took
mushroom
child.
wine parenting.
Yeah, I mean, you took child rearing tips from the fucking mushroom wine mole.
What is happening today?
Okay. Let's continue.
We gotta shake out.
Mates or rivals? We're rivals right now.
Okay, so I'm narrating.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after a long day of harvesting dyeing materials, one of the tunneling harvest moles has been caught lacking behind. Suddenly, it's been scooped up and dropped upon a very particular cacti. Now, as the tunneling harvest mole has been impaled, its blood and soon to be supper seeps and dribbles down the cacti. Below at the bottom, hungry, thirsty for a taste, we have two competitors. Now, one of them takes the first reactive move by doing what exactly?
Lunging forward.
The first one lunges forward to try to get an optimal position as to the drop that is falling. It gets just a very minor taste in its mouth as suddenly the other
Flaps a wing forward to cover and make the drop dribble down the wing into my mouth.
Now we know that these are communicative and tool-using-esque creatures, so as the other diverts the path of the blood droplet into its own mouth, there's only one other response in this fight for survival. The other suddenly
reaches out and tears at the wing to attempt to rip open a hole.
On this cool and dry mesa, you can only focus on your own survival. So, seeing the barrier between it and its food, the creature decides to remove the barrier, striking with its hooked wing and tearing a hole in its competitor's wing so that the blood can seep down to its own mouth.
While they're fighting, the little mole who is clinging onto the last little like twitches of life is trying to push itself off of to fall to the ground to try to get back to his son and kind of rude wife.
What happens is
misunderstood. Misunderstood.
His misunderstood wife, yes.
My wing
Is there
gets
a Mr.
torn.
Understood?
That's this mole.
My wing gets torn, and as this happens, I frantically grab with my other hook to hook onto the mole before I fall down into the ground below. And so I'm dangling by one hook.
We have two creatures that are not only both fighting for just a drop of blood, they're also struggling upwards towards the tip of this cactus where the creature has been impaled. But the tunneling harvest mole also has a will of survival, a flame that pushes it towards survival regardless of the circumstance. It is able to tear through its own flesh and remove itself from the spike, falling as suddenly, with one broken wing and another outstretched, the competitor has snatched the tunneling harvest mole and is dangling from the cacti. And as our original blood-sucking creature slowly laps luxuriously from the blood of not only the tunneling harvest mole, but also its competitor, as both have been impaled on the perilous cacti.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
What are these bitches called?
A single mom who works two
Jobs. Yes.
That kid is gonna be fucked up.
The rebat. The reba. The reblood bat.
Wreath of Franklin.
The cactus bat. I feel like its name would come from like the cactus behavior in some way.
I feel like it's got to be something about piercing, because it both pierces. Like there's a lot of
the piercer bat.
The sang-winged predator. Because sanguination is to let out blood. Sanguination is to let out blood, and it's winged. It's our first winged creature on the mesa.
Fuck! There was a really there was a great word. Vasca something.
Vascus.
The sanguine.
No, it was
the sang-winged terror.
Sanguing.
Sanguing.
Penguin.
It's in something with cacti.
It sounds like you're saying penguins.
Well, do you know the Benedict Cumberbatch documentary where it goes penguin?
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I was. That's exactly what the penguin.
Okay, oh wait, I missed and now I don't know where we are. What were we on for? Sanguination? What?
The sang-winged cacterror.
Whoa, I love that. Gonna be biased.
Pack terror. That's good.
Or
sure, I like it.
Pterodactyl.
Oh.
I mean, feel free to come up with something to rival it.
No, I think that's the best.
Right.
I think that's the best we got.
The
No
shadow
competitors.
piercer.
Okay, that's pretty good.
The needler.
How about this? Does it ever snow up there? We could call it the snow piercer.
It doesn't snow, I don't think.
The choker.
But I did get it. The choker.
The choker.
Um,
Lol.
The thing is, okay, so far we have the Renorox and the tunneling harvest mole. So I would love if this thing maybe wasn't as wordy as the tunneling harvest mole. And the sang-winged cack terror is a
I
lot
like
of
I like
syllables.
Cacterrors.
Just
Cacterrors.
cack
I like
terror?
Cacterror.
Cacterrors,
Cacterror.
yeah.
Cacteratops.
Cacterrors. Okay, so now we go to creature comforts.
But I think that the cacterror for sure is like dark because it hunts in the night, so it needs to not show up. Darker
Black,
coloring.
possibly with dark
Like
red
dark brown,
or
dark red, dark green. Yeah.
green. Love it. Okay. Renorox. Tunneling harvest mole.
Damn.
Cacterror.
Cacterror.
But she keeps me safe. She keeps me safe.
So now that we've got our 3 creatures and their names, we're going to move into the creature comfort section of the game, which is just framing one final scene of these creatures coexisting alongside each other. And we've had some overlap, so one final scene with all 3, and we've been doing the documentary style, so we can just bring it home.
Maybe this is the vibe when they leave.
That's
Like
a beautiful idea.
Renorox when they head down.
Okay, hold on. What if not only does the Renorox go up there to mate after a strenuous climb uphill, it also goes there to die. And then the creatures that are
babies.
decomposers can use that flesh for another 10 years until the next one comes up.
So they go up there, they have their baby, or they have multiple babies. I don't know. And
That's a
then they
good question.
send
How
their-
do the babies get down?
Maybe they just have that in, like, that could be the scene, is these babies heading forth into the world and
Wow.
all the stuff that happens with like the bodies behind them and the critters that live there.
That's interesting.
Because just to make sure I'm on the same page, the Renoroxi, 2 of them do climb up the mesa to mate, but there are many down there that also mate and keep the population, but like every...
I was thinking it's like, it's pretty, like they go in different times. Like each couple goes up in the same season, but like different weeks or something. So maybe there's a couple more pairs of them up there. IDK. Or different years, kind of like cicada broods.
Yes. Or like the only... never mind.
This could be, we could have assumed that this was the time that they were coming up to mate, but we did say before that they return year after year. So maybe this is their final time coming together, and they also come here to die.
That's cute. It's kind of like a timeshare. Timeshare mesa. Like each of the Renoroxes have a different season or something. Wow. Okay, so talk to me. How do we...
I mean, we can just, it's just, I think, similar to what we did before. We don't have to necessarily all take characters, but we just take turns describing details in this scene. I guess we've already kind of been doing that.
It'd be nice maybe for one of us to control the moles, one of us to control the terrors, and one of us, or 2 of us to control the Renorox, or something like that.
Well, are the Renorox is dead now, and then it's the baby?
Yeah, like the baby Renorox.
Yeah, if we've got 5 of us, one of us could be for each animal, 1 person environmental, 1 person narrator.
I want to be the cacterrors.
Cool.
I'll do environment.
I'm happy being either the mole or the Renorox.
What a thing? The narrator?
You haven't narrated one, right?
I was the Renorox. I was going to say I was the Renorox earlier, so if you want to be the Renorox, Emma,
Happy
I
to
can
be.
the mole.
Yeah, I don't mind either way.
I'm
This
the
is your
grown up
typecast.
baby.
Cool.
I'm
You're
the baby mole now grown up.
You're the baby mole now grown up. I'm the young Renorox whose parents are leaving this world.
Fresh.
We ready?
I'm so ready. Wait, I'm adding a thing. I'm saying that it doesn't bring its things down until it leaves. So it takes the journey with its eyes
like
open.
it's born with the eyes open.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like raining or snowing.
Probably helps the descend. Helps the way down.
Several months have passed since the Renorox have made their treacherous journey up the mesa. The cool, dry air gives to colder and much more harsh weather. The young brood of Renorox make their way past their parents' feet. What are they doing?
They're shuffling, and I imagine they're a lot smaller, so they might get into some scuffles with possibly the cactuars.
And here we see a playful scuffle from the naive Renorock. But they do not know what they mess with.
Suddenly you see, though they are solitary creatures, 2, 3, suddenly 5, 7 cactuars have dipped their teeth, their claws into a single Renorox, but have started lifting it with its wings and gently carrying it to the edge of the mesa.
The Norox doesn't know what's going on, and it's kind of showing its false eyes up high, but it's getting carried as it goes, kind of trying to shake them off.
The winter is harsh, and as such, the cactuars must take drastic action. However, in this abysmal landscape, hope prevails.
So the cactuars can't help themselves but to take a few delicious drops of this young, fresh Renorox. But as they get halfway down the mesa, which is about all their bodies can take in terms of altitude change, they are gently releasing this young body to the slope of the snow or the water turned mud bottom, halfway descend. So they release and fly back.
And the Renorox just fucking tumbles down because it's a little baby. Like it's new to the world, and it kind of falls over itself, gets all covered in mud. And then as the rain and the mud gets on it, it like rights itself and looks back up.
Now, the young Renorox has finally been exposed to the harsh realities this world has to offer. Separated from its parents, the young Renorock will likely never see them alive again. And so, the young Renorox makes its way into the world anew. Back at the top of the mesa,
I was thinking, like, as the whole scuffle was happening earlier, the tunneling harvest mouse was kind of running around and gathering up the spurs in between as the cactuars were distracted and gathering up the little everything falling down from the Renorox and gathering them all up. And as everything clears out, the tunneling harvest mice kind of look around and gather together and look at their great bounty of new food and sustained life, and they kind of dig back down in their hole and settle in. And this new family unit, headed by a now older, more wizened tunneling harvest mouse, looks down at their baby. Tunneling harvest mole.
Thank you.
Looks down at the now new child and goes for a moment and licks the child's face in a gesture saying, "I'll always be here for you," and gives it a little mushroom.
the winter is harsh, but the moles have each other. Barricading their nests off with the spurs that remain on the mesa, they protect themselves from the lingering cactuars that surround the area. But for the cactuars, this is no easy time of year. The food that was plentiful with the arrival of the Renorox now come to scarcity. The parents remain, and their fragile bodies succumb to the cold. What do we see of these final parents' moments?
They're so old and they're so feeble, but they've come to this area time and time again, and in these final moments they know that their offspring are safe and they are here together. So one of them lifts a big head and lays it down on the other one's belly. And they both reveal their eyes a last time before, the night in the game.
And so the feast begins. Swarms and swarms of cacterers attack, ravaging the body of the remaining Renorox. It is a cactus fest. A slaughter. The remains of this body will be used to build further, even better mushroom farms by the tunneling harvest moles throughout the rest of the winter. And despite their intimidating exteriors, this period of time represents a much more peaceful era for the cacters. For with scarcity in food, the abundance of the Renorox blood supply means that there is space to preserve it. The cacters find the largest cactus on the mesa and begin to regurgitate the blood, creating a communal pool that shall feast and nourish the community throughout the winter. Despite their territorial nature, these creatures know that they must collaborate to survive. And so ends our trip in the mesa. Mammals, connected, intertwined, and truly beautiful in their relationships. Such is the course of nature.
Join us next time to discover deep sea mammals on the next episode.
What is the
Incredible.
bug life here on the mesa? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bugs.
And now it says, when you are ready to end the game, thank your fellow players. You might wrap up by sharing a contribution from another player that delighted or surprised you.
Oh, that's fun.
Thanks, y'all.
Love that. Thanks, guys.
Always
That was
love
so
playing
fun.
with you.
So
Very,
true.
very fun.
I
Love
am
y'all.
devastated at the fact that this is an audio medium and that our wonderful listeners will not get to see the physical performance that Tori put on in that last one.
We're definitely going to post clips of some of these. I would definitely want to post the Renorox mating too, because that
For
was
sure.
Yeah, that was
spectacular.
really funny.
And
yeah.
and maybe we'll get a Patreon and then it'll be the full shorts on Patreon.
Yes, follow us on Insta. Maybe we'll post the actual video. What I appreciated about that specific moment is that though the prompt was the same, these creatures that do not show their eyes but unfurl them, my instinct was to go over and Mikey's was to go like sideways like this. So it kind of gave this differentiation between like the pursuee and the pursuer.
Oh, yeah.
Just like
Ah.
naturally
Dimorphism.
yes, literally, like we hadn't talked about it,
And
but
it
the
had
idea
nothing
of-
to do with the fact that my shoulders were tired.
and nothing to
Funny.
do with the fact that my shoulders could go on forever. Never get tired.
I personally thought that the drunk wine mole mom was such a vibrant addition to this nature documentary.
She gets drunk off the
and I-
cactus juice.
Yeah, I also don't say that ironically as well. I thought it was really fun and shows that despite the tone of this game, you can still have fun.
Agree, and was not shy from what we all had leaned into, which is that nature isn't always nice and cuddly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
Right?
literally is like the parent is like, "Well, I'm hungry. I don't want to die. Let me
Yeah.
eat." You know, like sometimes those instincts do take over. So I did love the tunneling harvest mole mom who just was like,
Tumbling Harvest Mom.
I just need a moment. Let me eat this mushroom.
Excellent.
Another player who I'll highlight, Emma, I thought you brought a lot of realism and touch points to bring into this fantastical game. It's why I think you make such a fantastic educator, and the role that you fulfill in the museum that you work at, which shall not be named or doxed. They have really cool events.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Emma, you did I think you did a really good job at kind of directing and informing stuff on like biology and animal, all of that. And I think everyone came with really good ideas. Like Anisha, I know you had some ideas before this, and having brought the game to us, I think you had some cool ideas. But I think it was really cool how everyone was able to build off of each other and grow from that. Definitely from our experience with Ground itself.
And everybody really embraced the well, let's find like why it's like this. I feel like everybody brought well, this animal does this and I know about that, and that was fun to play with.
And I know we had talked about Spore because it's a game about creatures and evolutions, but for me, it really all came together when you had mentioned the strong legs of the tunneling harvest mole being used to dig while the mouth is holding something, because in Spore, all you have is an arrow, which means your character will move in this direction. You don't have to put the mouth there. You don't have to put the eyes there. That's just the direction in which your character will predominantly move. So that is where the Spore reference became most poignant to me, because it meant, sure, you could put your mouth on the other side, but it means that the strongest apparatus of your body, being the hind legs, will be doing most of the moving while you're wiggling back.
And be sure to tune in next week for more interesting discussions like that in our game episode that will where we'll be talking about this game. But for now, that's it for playing Exquisite Biome. We will see you on a different side of the table.